What's good, YouTube? This your boy Derek Branch of SportsView360.com, covering New Orleans Saints today. And as I want to talk about the upcoming matchup between the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers. This is the rematch from what occurred a few weeks ago, prior to the Saints going on their bye week, where the Saints had, up until we saw what we saw in the Buccaneers matchup, had their most complete game of the season. It was a game where Tyler Shook, pretty much asserted himself as, a potential option of being the Saints starting quarterback of the future in that matchup. Saints won that game by a score of 17-7. Now I want to talk about just how important is that game coming up, because if you look at it, it's a late game. It's a late game on the slate for this week, for Week 15. 3:25 kickoff in the Superdome. Now, what's interesting about that is that game has a matchup where you have a team that is not going to the playoffs, have lost 10 games, but you have the Carolina Panthers, who are 7-6 right now, and are tied with the Buccaneers for control of the NFC South after the Bucs lost this past week to the New Orleans Saints. They're now tied with the Carolina Panthers at 7-6. Now the Bucs will be in first place tonight if they can get the win against the Atlanta Falcons. But a lot is at stake this Sunday for the Carolina Panthers, because the Panthers I would say, between the Carolina Panthers and the Miami Dolphins, they're the two most yo-yo teams in the NFL. They're the teams with the most yo-yo in them. What I mean by yo-yo is that you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get out of those two teams. One week, the Dolphins could look like a really good football team, and then the following week, the Dolphins looking like they're a team that's going to be picking in the top 5, top 10 in the NFL draft. When they played the Saints, they looked really bad. The Saints, they were giving the Saints opportunities to win that game. The Saints just couldn't capitalize. Prior to that, they blew up the Buffalo Bills. They blew up the Atlanta Falcons. They beat the Atlanta Falcons pretty bad. The Saints had struggled with the Atlanta Falcons after the bye week. So a lot of that. That's why I say, a lot of things are going to be at stake in this game. Because Panthers win this game, that keeps them within pace of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the NFC South. And then they also play each other, which is also important. Lose this game, you fall behind again. Because the Carolina Panthers, like the Miami Dolphins, looks like it's, in certain aspects, certain Sundays, they look like a really good football team. You saw what they did against the Los Angeles Rams a week ago. And they beat the Green Bay Packers, a team that could be in the Super Bowl this year. So they have potential. Now, they're going to come into this game with revenge on their minds against the Saints. Because the last game between these two, the Saints just set the Panthers down. The Panthers have a really good running game led by Rico Dodell. They shut him down. Bryce Young threw an interception and only threw for like 124 yards. And also, you have the quarterback situation with the Saints. How much are they putting in their, how much are they evaluating Tyler Shook? Does wins play into this situation? Are they holding that against him? You got the final 4 games of the year. You got the Saints, you got the Carolina Panthers, you got the Falcons again, you play the New York Jets, you play the Tennessee Titans. Can he win all those games? Can he lead this team to victory in all those games? Can he go 3-1? Are they holding this against him if he loses those games? Is he still considered the quarterback of the future if you don't win this game. These next couple of games. Because it could possibly happen. And then there's a point where that situation where the Saints go 7-10. I think if the Saints go 7-10, that's gonna take them out of the top 10 possibly. You're probably picking like in the top 15 after that. So they can go 7-10, 6-11, 5-12, because with every win, it puts them out of that top 5, top 3 range. And I know for a lot of y'all out there, you don't like that. You want this team to bottom out and get a high draft pick. But to me, if this guy is showing you that he can play, if Tyler Shough is showing you that you can win games because of him, not all the time, but that when you need him to win a game, put the team on his back, that's one situation that has been resolved. And you can go into this draft and worry about other areas of this team because this team has needs. And I think overall, Brandon Staley has done a really good job with what he has to work with on defense, based on how they've been playing recently. So those are the many reasons why this game is important. These next couple of games is important, especially the game during week 15 against the Carolina Panthers. And also the game is important for Kellen Moore and his coaching staff. Because the last time you came off a victory, you went on your bye week, got your rest, all that. You played the Atlanta Falcons, big rivalry week. They regressed. The team regressed. Big time. You know what I'm saying? So, will the Saints follow that same path?
And he needs somebody to tell him to peel it back.
You know what I'm
in
saying?
Those situations, but
will they follow that same path this upcoming Sunday against the Carolina Panthers? Will you regress, or will we see the team that beat the Panthers, soundly the last time they played, and will we see the team that Tyler Shough, had his huge outing against last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Will we see those type of teams? So that's some things to look forward to in this matchup. I think it's a big game for a lot of reasons. Even though the Saints really don't have nothing to play for, like in regards to playoff position and things like that. Number 1 seed, that's all out of the window. It is important because of the development. It is important because of what's at stake for the Carolina Panthers. Playoff positioning, NFC South, title, at stake. Because the reality is that if the Panthers don't win this division, they're not getting into the playoffs. Because the way the NFC, the playoff picture is looking right now, is going to be difficult for the Bucs or the Panthers to get into the playoffs without winning the division. And for the Saints, it's all about Tyler Shough's development. Will these games, does winning these games factor into his future with this team going forward? Does it? Because if you lose all these games, if you don't win another game, or if you just win one more game, there's a chance that the Saints will have a top 3 pick in this draft, or even the number 1 pick in the draft. Right now they have 5. Prior to that game, prior to beating the Buccaneers, they were picking at like 3, I think 2 or 3. And then you beat the Buccaneers, you drop down to 5. So that thing is a big game for this Sunday against the Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Panthers trying to get into the playoffs, trying to win the division. They haven't done that in a long time. Saints still trying to figure it out. Look like you have your quarterback. I think Shuck has done enough to be the Saints quarterback of the future, but you never know how they see things behind closed doors on that line trying. But we'll see how it all play out this Sunday. Panthers, Saints this Sunday in the Superdome. Tonight we got Falcons versus Bucs, so lots at stake right now. So we'll see how it all play out. But let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts on Sunday's matchup. I'm out.